Welcome to Farm Connections with your host, Dan Hoffman.
Joining us on Farm Connections today is Brian Ahrens, who farms in the Claremont-Owatonna area. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, thanks for letting us come to your farm. In back of us is a wonderful field of sweet green peas. How long have you been farming?
I farm in partnership with my two brothers, and we started farming in the partnership originally with my father in 1976.
So a while.
Yes, almost 40 years.
And the partnership is still alive and well.
Yes.
So when you raise sweet green peas, there must be some reason you do this other than you like peas. Why do you do this?
Well, we do it for agronomic as well as economic reasons. Economically, you don't have the expense you have with soybeans or corn because the seed is paid for. You don't have any harvesting costs. The canning company, Lakeside, harvests it for us. So you save on fuel, no drying costs. So you might not gross as much as corn and soybeans, but you won't have much expenses either.
So in the fall, instead of harvesting this like your corn and soybeans, it's actually done in July.
Yes.
So tell us how this starts. I mean, do you all of a sudden wake up one day in May and say, I'm going to plant peas, or does it start long before that?
Well, peas are, we treat peas, it's not just a sideline crop, it's still part of our main crop. Although we don't grow as many acres, you have to watch rotation for peas. Typically they say 4 years, but we prefer 10 to 15 years of not going back to peas to break the disease cycle and stuff like that. So in our head, we're planning a year or two ahead where we think we're going to go with peas.
And possibly one advantage is peas are a legume and it fixes some nitrogen for you?
Yes, that's one of the agronomic reasons we do it. It breaks typically we're 2 years corn and a year of soybeans, or else corn and soybean rotation. And by putting peas in there, we break a cycle of that. So instead of soybeans coming back to a field, you'll have, instead of 2 years, it could be 4 or 5 years. And you'll notice the yield increase, soybeans coming after peas.
Is there any crop insurance in case of failure?
Yes, there is. It's just like your other crops. You have an APH, you have a yield history, and it bases off of that.
Brian, you mentioned APH. What does that stand for?
Actual production history. It's a history of the yield in the crop over time to give the insurance company a benchmark yield that they'll base your if you have a loss off of that.
Well, sounds fair. That way they won't underpay, hopefully, and they probably feel like they won't overpay.
Correct.
And it keeps you in production or cash flow so that you can come back and
Correct.
be farming another year.
Yes.
Which we want, because I get hungry.
Yeah.
And thinking about peas, there's 8 or more grams of protein per cup. How do you feel about growing something that's healthy?
Well, like I said, you can't beat peas out of a garden. It's just that this is a larger garden.
A big garden.
A big garden.
How far away do the trucks go to deliver the peas?
Well, from this field, it'd be about a 15-mile trip. But I'm sure, I know some of their fields, they probably go 50, 60 miles.
I'm guessing they want it spread out too to risk
Yes,
management.
their crop, yep. Rains, scattered rains, hail, or just to spread their risk out also.
So this growing season or fall, you'll do a soil test for maybe next year's growing season?
Yes, typically every 4 to 5 years we will grid sample a whole field and get the nutrients, put them in the right place so we're not overspending or over applying any fertilizer.
Mostly phosphorus, potassium, and pH?
Nitrogen. pH has become a big thing for us. We've been liming pretty heavily for 15 years now. And so for peas, you want your pH at an optimum level. So all our fields are on a lime rotation.
Boy, there's a lot to think about.
Yes.
And again, it's a beautiful stand, and thank you for helping feed us.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more Farm Connections. With us at harvest time is Kurt Lang from the Lakeside Food Company. Thanks for joining us, Kurt.
Thank you. Welcome.
Well, it's pretty fun watching the harvest happen of the green sweet pea. And I noticed that we've got a lot of pods out there. What's happening as the machines go through and harvest these peas?
The machines, on the front of the machine, there's a reel with some teeth on it, like a hay rake, and that strips the vines or strips the pods off and some of the vines off on the going up into the machine. And then there's belts and conveyors that take it up into the machine. Inside the machine there's 4 threshing drums, satellite drums that spin around, and they knock that pea vine against some screens that are on the outside. And that breaks that pod apart and allows the peas to fall down through, and then they're conveyed back up into a hopper in the front. And coming out of the back is just the vines after it's been beat up, and some pods, broken pods that come there that are with the peas removed out of them. And as you can see, we need quite a few of them to get the job done, but we do run them right around the clock, 24 hours a day during the processing season.
And what is that processing season?
We started on June 26th this year and should finish up the last days of July.
When I look at the plant, I see that, the pods, of course, and there's some leaves on there for photosynthesis.
Yes.
And then we know that this plant is a legume, so on the bottom there's some rhizomes. What do they do?
Yes, that's nitrogen. It produces nitrogen back into the soil for the next crop that stays there. So yes.
What do you look for in a field of peas to determine if it's a good field or it maybe is one that's a little bit struggling?
That's a nice question. We go through field trials to look for what our specific needs are that fit our customers' needs, along with our growers' needs on yields. As you can see, there's numerous pods on that plant. That's a consideration that we have. With the vines on there, it's in a phyllis, so it'll stay up off the ground so we don't get dirt mixed in with it when we're doing the processing. And also the size of the berry, the quality when it gets down to it, that our QA individuals see, and our salespeople on sales, what the customer wants, and make sure that we got a quality product. Yes,
Quality
sir.
and customer focused.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us today. We've learned a great deal about growing food for livestock and ourselves as we've traveled around southern Minnesota. We're fortunate to have such a diverse agriculture community. I'm your host, Dan Huffman. I hope you'll join me again on another episode of Farm Connections.